Hello, everyone. We've got a great guest here today. I want to tell you a little bit about a very special bill introduced on the floor of the House of Commons. My good friend Todd Doherty, Member of Parliament from British Columbia, introduced a bill today that would create a new 988 suicide prevention hotline where people who are thinking dark thoughts and have lost hope can call and get help. Todd, thanks very much for doing this. Can you tell everyone what this number would do, and then we can talk about where it came from and how we're going to make it happen?
Yeah, well, I'll take you back to what happened about 147 days ago on December 11th. Our House parliamentarians all unanimously supported a motion that we put forth to bring to Canada a simple 3-digit national suicide prevention hotline. 988 is what we're saying. And so 147 days ago, that passed unanimously. And here we sit. Nothing really has taken action. And so today, I'm excited to say that we tabled a bill in the House that would change the Telecommunication Act to mandate that forcing CRTC to implement a 3-digit suicide prevention number dedicated to suicide prevention within 1 year of this bill becoming law. And essentially what we're saying, and as you know, Pierre, when minutes count, we need to do everything we can to remove the barriers for those that are seeking help. And this would follow suit from what the U.S. has done, our friends and our families down south, and just take that one other barrier out of the way of those that are seeking help.
And there's a lot of them. I mean, people have been gone through hell this last year. They've been locked up, cooped up, shut out from their lives, their friends, their family, and their jobs. We saw massive spikes of opioid overdoses in BC, Alberta, and Ontario. We know historically that the data shows that when people can't work, they are more prone to suicide. For example, the University of Calgary found that a 1% increase in unemployment is associated with a 2% increase in suicides. So you can imagine how many people are feeling suicidal these days with all the restrictions on their freedom and their ability to work. So do you think it's now more than ever urgent that we have a number of people can call when they're in the darkest hours of their days?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. You know, Canadians are facing economic and a mental health crisis upheaval, really, which we haven't experienced in our generation and perhaps ever. And, you know, we know that every 24 hours, 11 Canadians commit suicide. They die by suicide, and another 275 Canadians attempt that. So if we do the math, and you know, that's on normal days, that's without COVID and a global pandemic and job losses in the millions, and just that economic upheaval. Those numbers are likely very higher. You know, let's just do the simple math. 147 days at 11 souls lost every day. That's 1,617 Canadians that we've lost since our motion passed in December. You know, that's another 40,500 Canadians that have attempted suicide. We know that suicide is the second leading cause of death in our children. And we know that COVID and this pandemic have been particularly hard on children. They're not able to see their friends. They are cooped up. And you know, the Children's Helpline has seen a spike in calls where children are feeling higher anxiety, where parents are concerned about the well-being of their children. You know, substance abuse as well as alcohol abuse is up. So is domestic violence, suicidal ideation, and the crises is up. And so now more than ever, we've got to do something. This is a critical component for our recovery as a nation.
So who will be on the other end of the line when someone calls in?
Right. Well, there's crisis centers all across our country now, both regionally as well as provincially. And what we're saying is that we need to bring that all under one number, one simple, easy to remember number, such as 988. And so there will be people on the other end of that line that are trained, that are there to listen. You know,
Are they
Pierre,
volunteers? Or are they
yeah,
working? They're volunteers who've been trained to listen and work through these things with people.
absolutely. A long time ago, I set up team crisis lines. So I won't get into the details as to how long that is. And I trained the volunteers that would sit on those crisis lines and listen to those that are hurting. You know, Pierre, one of the hardest things to do, even if you're struggling and you've got great relationships with your family, one of the hardest things to do is to say that you're hurting, even to turn to your own family. And sometimes that anonymous voice on the other end that is trained to listen with empathy can really make a difference between a life saved or a life lost.
Right. Well, that's what the word compassionate means. It means the word passion in that word actually means suffering, to suffer. And
Right.
Co, of course, means to suffer with, to share in someone's suffering. And sometimes the greatest relief is when someone is there to share in your pain and to experience it with you. And that removes the sense of isolation and loneliness and entrapment that you feel when all hope is gone. So people will be able to call that number without facing judgment, without having anyone looking down on them for in a misplaced sense of weakness, and just say, look, I'm here to listen, and I'm here to work through whatever crisis is in your life that may be causing you to consider this irreversible mortal act of suicide.
Everybody's got that kind of that 1,000-yard stare, and we don't take the time to actually take a look at each other and ask you how are you doing, and just listen. And I think that we have to get back to that. I think we have to remember that these are some very, very difficult times that people are going through.
I'm a big believer in simplicity, and simplicity is something you especially need when you're in a crisis. You don't need complexity.
Absolutely.
You need the straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. So you're trying to shorten the distance between crisis and help with a simple 3-digit number. Remember it, burn it into your brains, everybody. 988, get it passed into law, and then get it out there so that we can save some lives. Great job, Todd.
Pierre, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time and all the help that you've given me behind the scenes as well.
Let's make this happen. Let's save some lives. And if there's anybody out there who is in need of assistance, get out and reach out to people and ask for help. We're working hard to bring more help on the way for you, but there's always hope, and life is always worth living. So thank you very much, Todd. Keep the fight alive, and thank you for serving and fighting for people's mental health. Now more than ever, we need it. And you're the greatest champion of that cause in Canada's Parliament.
You know what? I really appreciate that. The biggest message I want to give to people today is that our world is a better place because they're in it.
Absolutely. And let's keep them in it. Thanks again, Todd.
Thank you.